Jeronimo here. Now, today we're actually talking about a topic that I absolutely love. This is the foundation for any type of business you're going to possibly have. Because you could have the best item, the best product, the best service, the best widget in the world, and if you don't reach out and contact some people about what it is you have your hands on, it's going to be the best kept secret. So this is a subject that a lot of people are nervous when it comes to contacting, and they're uncomfortable. And so we're going to talk about some specifics, what you can say, how you can qualify or not qualify people, and the specific process that you want to be rolling through. So feel free to share if you think your team or the people that you know would like to improve the area of contacting. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's rock and roll. I hope you're ready to buckle up, because we have a lot of great things we're going to cover today. So let's start at the very beginning, okay? The beginning of everything is obviously we need to make a list of names, right? So we sit down, we make our list, we're going through our phone, we're going through our Facebook, we're going through any place that has a list of connections. And we are good list makers. So here is our marvelous list, and we have quite a few names on it. Now, some of the people you sit with are going to have, 25 names on their list. Some are going to have 50, some are going to have 100, sometimes they'll have 200. You just never can tell. But in any case, we're going to say that this is our list, okay? So the first thing I like to do is just get as many names out of our heads, out of our phone devices, and onto the paper as we possibly can. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go cherry pick who are our top people. So who is it that we're looking for? We're looking for people that, they're definitely excited and they want more out of life. Somebody that if you were to invest your life savings to start a business, this would be the kind of person that you would want as your business partner. Either they're really savvy in business, they're always about the hustle, they got a little get up and go, or maybe they are the mouth of the South. They know everybody under the sun and they're fantastic at networking. A couple of really good professions for people like that would be your pastor, teachers, coaches, hairdressers, small business owners, people that are self-employed, people that have done network marketing before. Those are the type of businesses type of people that we would want to connect up with, people that already have a business mindset. While we're going to have a lot of people on our list that are going to want to use our product or service, that's not who we're going to start off with, because we want to start off first and foremost by duplicating ourselves. So let's say we go through and we do have a list of 100 names here, and we have, maybe 15, maybe more that are starred, okay? And those are the A people that we are talking about. So the first thing is we want to identify who are those people. The second thing is we want to talk about contacting those people on the list. So contacting is kind of a controversial subject nowadays. Back in the day, there was one way to contact, and that was on the phone. That was really the only way that we had to contact, right? You could bump into someone or you could call them on the phone. Now we have all different types of social media things, and some things work great and some things not so much. So my 3 areas that I think are the best in regards to contacting. So the first thing is, number one, I do still really like the phone. I don't know if you'd say I'm old school or not, but you can tell a lot when you're talking to someone based on their tone of voice, based on what's going on in their life, based on if you're calling them at a good time, if you're on the phone, okay? If you are contacting them text message, you might send them a text and it might be like a couple of hours before they respond, because you don't know what's going on. You don't know if it's even a good time for them to talk. And then the last thing is Facebook. Facebook, and when I mean Facebook, I'm talking about private messaging. So those are the 3 things that I prefer to use when contacting people. Now, I always say the best thing to do is to contact people the way that you normally talk to them. Like if you always see them at church, you might want to talk to them when you're at church. If you always see them a certain place, or if you're a texter and that's how you communicate. Like one of my girlfriends, great friends, we talk on the phone sometimes, but our primary form of communication is Facebook instant messaging. So that's how I talk to her. You have to kind of decide, of the people that are on your list, how do you talk to those people? And that's probably going to be what you're going to want to lead off with. All right, so we have our 3 ways that we are going to be reaching out to people. Next, the thing that you've all been waiting for is, what on earth do we say, right? We're ready. We got our list. We got our A players. All right, we got our phone and our Facebook open. How the heck are we reaching out, and what is it that we're saying, right? So let's talk about this, okay? In my opinion, there's 3 different blocks or categories that you can break things up to, okay? The first way is what we're gonna call the qualifying, okay? That's basically when you're contacting someone, you're gonna ask them a question to see if they're open. They may be open, they may not be open, okay? And we're gonna go over some specific scenarios on what that is. Qualifying, okay. The second way is the non-qualifying, where literally we're not going to ask them anything. We're just going to be like, hey, listen, I got something. It's going to be a huge blessing for you. When can I come by and see you? Like, we are not going to give them an opportunity to say no. And that is a fantastic way for some people that you may know. Maybe for you, it may be for somebody in your organization. And the last one is what I would call people that have certain scenarios. Okay. Those are people that, let's say you only see them certain places. Like you go to the gym, you work out at LA Fitness or wherever you go, and every time you go, you see certain people. But that's the only place you see them. Perhaps it's people from work. Perhaps it's people from a certain place that you frequent. Maybe it's from church, wherever it is. It's scenario type people, right? So let's talk about these 3 different ways and what we can do. Now, first of all, you're non-qualifying. So we have qualifying, non-qualifying, and we'll say special circumstance or scenario type people. So if somebody is brand new and they just joined your business and they are nervous as heck to call their people or to reach out to them or to do anything with them, the thing that I would have them do is I would have them do a non-qualifying text message. Here's an example. Hey, listen, I'd really like to get together. What does your schedule look like? Okay, they're not giving them an opportunity to say no. Here's how this would play out. They're gonna say, let's get together. Hey, what's your schedule look like? Can we meet up later on today? Are you gonna be home later on tonight? They book the appointment. After the appointment is booked, then they're going to tell them why. So they're gonna be like, oh, can't wait to see you. By the way, I got something I really think you would have an interest in. Love to show it to you tonight when I see you. Real simple, but you didn't give the prospect an opportunity to say no. Now, here's the pluses and the minuses to the non-qualifying. The plus is that it's really easy if you have somebody that's like super nervous to make calls or they're nervous to send text messages. They're just like, I love what I'm doing, but I'm nervous to talk to people. And that's a lot of people when they first get started. If you send text is wonderful. Why? One, it's premeditated, right? So we can think about what we want to say before we shoot it over to that prospect. Second of all, there's not a lot of room for error, right? And so if we're sending a simple message, hey, I got something I think would be a huge blessing for you. Can I come by and see you after you get off of work tonight? Something like that, it doesn't really leave a lot of room for rejection. So I have people in my organization that I've sat down with and I can just see they're excited, they're ready to roll, but you know what? They're a little nervous to reach out to some people, and we go over this non-qualifying way of reaching out to people and they get appointments like that. So that's a non-qualifying. So, hey, I got something I think would be a huge blessing for you. Hey, I'd really love to get together. When can we connect on up? How about, hey, I came across something I think would be right up your alley. Love to swing on by and show it to you. What's your calendar look like? So those are a couple examples of non-qualifying, okay? Now, let's move on over to the qualifying, okay? So who is the qualifying for? The qualifying is for someone that you can tell they feel a little bit more comfortable reaching out to people. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's in your, maybe you've been in your business for a little while. You already have an organization and you are back in the recruiting phase, so you can line up some new frontline people to be working with. Now, what's nice about qualifying is that it's exactly that. It helps to pre-qualify people so you're not wasting your time going and showing a lot of plans to people that they have no interest in what it is that you're doing, right? So qualifying is awesome. That's primarily what we do, is obviously we want to qualify someone before we go sit down with them, right? So what's an example of a qualifying? Let's say you're brand new, you're getting started. Hey, working on a business project. I thought about you. Do you happen to keep your options open for other ways of making money outside of what you do? Being a nurse, being an attorney, being an electrician, whatever they do, right? So you share a little bit about it and you ask them if they're open, okay? Here's another one. Hey, came across something, looks like we can help some people, and we can make some money. And I thought about you. Do you keep your options open for making some extra money right now? And you can change up the words, but it's basically you kind of throw it out there and you ask if they're open. You might say, do you keep your options open for, additional sources of cash flow or whatever? You want to try and speak your prospect's language. And the more comfortable that you get with contacting, the more seasoned that you get, the easier it will be for you to just kind of play with the words on the fly. Obviously, if you're talking to somebody that's a stay-at-home mom, you're not going to use real estate investor talk, right? You're going to try and use language, hey, would you like to make some extra money part-time from home, where you could spend some time with your kids and you could do what you want to do, but you had extra money coming in. So you could go do some nice extra fun things. You want to use words that's going to connect up with your prospect. So we talked non-qualifying, we talked qualifying. What's the last one? Is scenario. Okay, so a couple of scenarios. First of all, let's talk about the people that are really on your chicken list. Okay, so these are the people that you've had on your list. They've been there quite some time. Or maybe they never even made it onto the list because you were afraid to talk to these people. We call them the chicken list. If that's you, that's okay. Everyone's got them. So how do we talk to the chicken list people? Well, obviously, if they're on the chicken list and we're a little intimidated to reach out to them, it's because we have a lot of respect for them. It's probably because they're successful in the marketplace or they're successful member in the community, in their church, with their family, whatever it is. There's some reason that we're like, oh my gosh, they're so amazing. How am I going to talk to them, right? And so you know what? The best thing to do is just tell them that. Hey, listen, I look up to you so very much. I have a ton of respect for what you've done in whatever it is that they've done, and I would really like to get your feedback on something. Now, here's what's nice. When you have somebody that you respect them, you can either take them on a non-qualifying contact where you say, hey, I'd like to get your feedback on something. When can we get together? Like, you have told them they are amazing, they're awesome, and we really need to get their honest opinion on what it is that we got our hands on, right? So they're not going to tell you no because everyone wants to give their opinion. That will be one example. Let's say you have that successful person, but you are super busy, you're on the go, you finally are like, okay, I'm ready to call this person, but I got stuff to do and I got all these other people I need to talk to. So you may say, hey, listen, I think you are amazing. I have a ton of respect for you and what you've done. We're working on a business project. It's taken off like crazy. I'm just curious. Do you happen to keep your options open for other additional sources of making money outside of what you're doing right now? They're going to say yes. They're going to say no. They're going to say, what is it? But you can take that type of scenario where you don't qualify them and you just say, hey, you're my friend. I look up to you. Will you do me a favor? Right? Or you can take it to where you do say all those nice things about them, but at the same token, you're qualifying that prospect. That's one scenario. Second scenario, let's say you have people and they are like, you only see them those certain places, like the gym or like work, or like maybe you go to a certain club and everybody's there, but that's really the only time you see them, and you may or may not have their phone number, right? So if you're seeing these type of people in person, or maybe you do have their contact info, either way, what you can do is when you're reaching out to them, just say, hey, listen, I know we only see each other here at the gym, but you know what? You seem like a fun, outgoing person. I got something I'm working on. Made me think about you. Love to share more about it with you. What's the best number to reach you at? And your goal is really to get their contact info so that you can talk to them more about it later and set up a time to get together with them. So let's talk about one more example. Let's say you have people and they are people that you went to high school with. They were your old neighbors. You used to work with this person, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They're like a blast from the past. There's people that you know, and they may be amazing, super high quality people, but they're not necessarily somebody that you talk to all the time. And so for you, you're like, man, calling this person out of the blue, and it's been years, is kind of like strange, right? So how do we reconnect up with them? Well, me personally, I love Facebook for that, because Facebook is a totally socially acceptable way that you can connect back up with those people, right? Hey, what's going on? How are you? And then what you want to do is you want to use an acronym called FORM. Okay, FORM. It stands for family, occupation, recreation, and then M is your message. Like, you want to share why it is that you're reaching out to them. Now, if I'm talking to them, whether it's on Facebook chat, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on text, however I'm communicating with them, one of the things that I'll say is, hey, it's summer. I know, totally probably a blast from the past. Hey, listen, I came across something I was working on, made me think of you, but how are you? What's going on? So you kind of throw out there in the beginning of the conversation, however you're talking to them, that, you have a reason that you're calling, right? But, let's get caught up first so that it's not uncomfortable when you're talking to that person. Because I don't know if you've ever had a time where somebody did that to you, like they reached out to you and they're like, hey, what's going on? How's kids? How's the family? What you doing? And then they hit you with their opportunity and you're like, oh, that's why you're reaching out to me, right? And so, it's kind of like a little, you feel a little standoffish afterwards. So if you share up front, hey, listen, I'm, working on something, love to share more about it with you, or hey, I got a project I'm working on, it made me think of you, whatever, however you want to bring it up. You share that up front, and then, you bring it around after you catching up with them on what's going on. All right, so we talked about qualifying, non-qualifying, and scenario examples. Okay, now, if you qualify those people in any form or fashion, and you ask them if they're open. Oh, one other one I want to share with you before we get to it. So let's say you have someone and they're a personal friend of yours and you know them, okay? So they've either had situations with their health, their finances, whatever it is, okay? Here's what you do. You can say, hey, do you remember the other day when you were complaining about X? It could be their health, it could be their finances, it could be whatever your product, service, or company is an answer to. Remember the other day when you were complaining about your blood pressure being a little too high and your doctor said that if you don't do something about it, he's gonna put you on something for it. Well, if you have a health and nutrition company, you could say, hey, I came across something, think it might help you with that. Love to share more about it with you. When can we sit down and talk? Okay, so that's the remember when that you can bring up, and that's awesome when you have people that are in your life, that are your close friends, close family members, that it's time to circle back around with them, and it just gives you a real specific thing that your product, service, or company is an answer to for them in their life. So let's move on to the next part. Okay, so if you have done one of these two, where you've qualified them or you have a scenario situation, then a couple of things might happen, okay? If you ask somebody if they're open to making extra money outside of what they do, they're only gonna give you one of three answers. They're gonna say, yes, I'm open, no, I'm not open, or what is it that you have, okay? So this is where a lot of things can happen, right? So somebody that's brand new, that's just getting started, that doesn't really know much about contacting, this is where they actually open the can of worms and they do everything that their upline leader said, please don't do. And they start talking on the phone about everything without getting the appointment. Okay, so here's how that looks. Well, can you tell me more about it? Well, sure, it's this, this, and this. Oh, okay, well, can you tell me more about that? And they just go back and forth like a tennis match, okay? So here's what you wanna do. If you get a yes, or if you get a what is it, if you get any kind of positive response, your goal is to do one thing and one thing only, and that is go for your appointment. And how do you do that? You do that very simply by giving them a short, concise answer. Hey, listen, can you tell me more about it? No problem. Working on a health and nutrition project, expanding here locally, helping a lot of people out. What does your schedule look like over the next couple of days? So like you give them a short, simple answer, but then you go right back into what's your calendar. And you continue to do that until you get your appointment. Now, obviously, if they're super apprehensive and they're like, I really want you to send me some info. Can you shoot me an email? Honestly, that's probably not someone that you want to meet up with anyways, because they're probably going to waste your time. So here's what you can do. First of all, if they have a positive, you want to go for your appointment. And again, just short, simple answer, what's your calendar, and rock and roll. And don't play the tennis match, okay? You're like, I'm going to opt out of that. Now, if they push back and they're like, well, it really depends, and like they really want to press you for a lot of information, here's what you want to do. You want to get off the phone. Say, hey, listen, I really got to run. I only had a minute to talk to you, but why don't we do this? Do you have about 10 minutes? Yes. If I send you a video, will you watch it? Okay, so you want to do if I, will you? Okay, if I do this, will you do that? And if they say yes, then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and send them whatever your company video is. Okay, so I like to send them the whole enchilada, not something just on the product or service, right? Because if I'm calling people that are business minded, I want them to know, hey, this is network marketing. Here's a little bit about our company. Here's a little bit about our products, right? So I'm going to send them a short video. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and send you a text message. This is our company information. You can check it out. When do you think you'll have about 15 minutes that you can go over and watch that? And I have them give me an answer. And they say, oh, I think I'll be able to watch it later on tonight. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, I'd love to connect back up with you after you've had a couple minutes to check it out. So what do you think would be a good time that we could talk later on tonight? And you try and go and get you a phone appointment, okay? So this is a time where you're gonna circle back up with them and you wanna get their feedback on what they like most about what they heard on the video. And based on that, then you can decide if you're gonna go ahead and meet with them in person or if maybe, they don't qualify for what you have. So in any case, that's kind of the rule of thumb. Let me see if I have anything here that I missed. I think we're good. Guys, if you have any questions on contacting, the qualifying, the non-qualifying, the scenario, or what they may say after you ask them to get together with you, definitely feel free to post them up there in the comments. And great to see you all. Now, one of the things that has been so very beneficial for us, and it's something that each and every person can do, is figuring out how to use this beast we call social media to actually attract prospects to you. Okay, so everything we've been talking about for the last 15 or 20 minutes has all been about you reaching out to people. Okay, so that means they're kind of in the position of strength because you want to offer them something. But if the tables were reversed and they were reaching out to you and they were like, hey, can you tell me more about what you're doing? Or, hey, I kind of heard something on Facebook, I really like to know more about that. Do you think that would be powerful? Do you think that would be a benefit to you? Well, I know it absolutely will. And it's another skill that once you learn it, it can be a tool in your tool belt that you can use forever and you can teach your team. So I'm going to share with you what we've done. How do you do that? How do you learn about it? If you click on the link that's listed in the description, summerjeronimo.com/win, it's actually an audio track that you can, it will be emailed to you. You can get that, you can listen to it, and it's going to give you exactly what we've done to start applying these principles using social media. So that's all for today, my friend. Guys, if this added some value to you, definitely feel free to share and pass it on to the people in your organization, because contacting is one of the biggest areas that if we can master contacting, then you can master cash flow. The more contacts you make, the more cash flow you're going to see in your organization. So that's all for today, my friends. Take care, be blessed, and I will see you all next time.
For more great training and to receive your free MP3 download on how to attract prospects using social media, the 4 essential elements to attracting prospects, visit summerjeronimo.com.